Wedding Talk with Mindy and Carol, your insider guide to trends, tips, and stress free planning.
Hi, welcome to Wedding Talk with Mindy and Carol. I'm Carol.
And I'm Mindy. We're two wedding travel advisors who plan over 50 destination weddings every year combined.
Today, we're going to kind of discuss one of the other locations we talked about was the Hard Rocks, which are based out of the AIC Corporation. And we're going to talk about what options we have available from them. Let's go ahead and start off. Let's start off with the very first one that they have is the Hard Rock Cancun. Go ahead, Mindy, what you think about that property?
It's nice. I actually like it. It's not far from the airport, maybe 20 minutes tops from the airport. It is in the hotel zone, so it is that high-rise building. So it is a little bit more of a compact resort, which some people like, some people want something more spread out. But I like the resort. It will be getting closed for some renovations.
Mhm.
But some nice suites and everything. So I'm really excited to see what it'll look like once it is all refurbished, because the resort definitely has a lot of plus qualities to it. What are your thoughts?
I was just there about last month, I believe it was. And what I like about it is the fact that, if you do want to hop in a bus and go downtown and do the nightlife and that it's available, you're not just right at the resort. So that's a great option for those that are maybe wanting that extra nightlife that may not be at the resort for late nights for them. But it also does have offer a family feel to it. So kids are not excluded if you do want to have children there. Um, I think the biggest thing that I liked was the fact that, in the hotel zone, that beautiful stretch of beach. So if you're a beach walker, you can walk in either direction and
Mhm.
still not feel like you're contained like you are at some of the other resorts in other locations. I was there and did some training. The other big thing is that great big convention room they have, and then they also have a lot of concerts there. So
Yes.
sometimes if you like the concerts and it falls in that area, then you're all right there and you don't have to leave.
Yeah. Yeah. And one of the things we have to point out with any of the Hard Rock resorts, it is focused on music. So there will be music playing and lots of memorabilia throughout the property as well. So it definitely is for a music lover.
Yes, they always have. I mean, I think the day I was there, they'll usually have one, once throughout the week, if not more, by the pool, they'll have a live band. And so
Mhm.
people are in the pool and there's actually live music, which is also a really nice option. The other great thing about any Hard Rock, I guess, is the fact that most of the time the room rates for kids under the age of 18, 17 and under, are not charged like a surplus like most of the other resorts are.
Is a huge savings. So, but why don't we just talk real briefly too before we jump into the weddings, where the other Hard Rock properties are, because you also have the other one in the Cancun region down in Riviera Maya, um, which I really like that property. That has to be one of my favorite Hard Rocks.
Yeah. I like the fact that you have an adult only side and then you
Mhm.
have the family side. It seems like there's so much to do there with the water park, the zip lines and everything. The only downside is if you want that natural beach, it's just not there. It's
Right,
more of a
it's
cove.
more of a cove, which if you're traveling with kids, sometimes that's nice because the water's not deep,
That's true. That's true.
so it does have its pros and cons. Another con of that resort is the seaweed certain times of the year. That water can get a little murky and stuff with the seaweed. But as far as wedding locations, they do have a lot of wedding locations. Um, and some of them are just like really stunning, and they just built that new wedding location, which will also be very, very popular.
Yes, and it's going to be a little bit more private, so you can have your events in one location and not have to move around. But yes, I've never, I mean, as long as even on my FIT bookings, no complaints on that
Yeah,
resort. Age group wise, it hits the nail on the head for every age group.
yeah, yeah, it
I think
does.
I think
Yeah.
so. And then the other one that they have is the Hard Rock in Punta Cana is another one.
Mhm.
Um, that one is on a great stretch of the Bavaro Beach,
Yeah,
nice wide
beautiful.
beach, beautiful, big property as well. But there's shuttle rides to and from if you don't like to walk a lot.
Yeah, yeah, they do have the shuttles. It is large, but it is also walkable. Like I can walk it, it's fine for me. But if I was lugging my kids and all the stuff that I needed to go down to the beach, it may be a little too much. So with that resort, you definitely need to look at the locations and where they're located. And there's also a great water park there for the kids.
Yes, yes. I mean, for size wise, the first time that I was there, I had to hunt for the water park. And I don't know if it was just because I was trying to go between the buildings versus it'd have been better if I'd have went to the beach and went up. But it is different if you don't look, you're not really familiar with it. You would probably, if you do have children, you'd want to be in that area more so than you would be if you didn't. I mean, pretty much.
Yeah, and that property has a casino, which is really nice, but that casino is open to the public. So if you're staying at the resort, your all-inclusive package stops once you hit the casino floor. So you will have to pay for any kind of drinks and food that you would want while you're in the casino because it is open to the public.
Yeah. I guess I didn't even walk into the casino, so I'm not really sure. But it's probably like all the other casinos in the Dominican in that it's smaller scale than what's like in Las Vegas.
Oh yeah, most definitely smaller than Las Vegas, but it's actually a pretty decent sized casino.
Okay. All right. And then the other one that we have is in Hard Rock Los Cabos, which that one's probably my favorite one. I don't
Mhm.
know why. Maybe it's because all the rooms are ocean view.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that one is, and I think the fact that they have, again, they have an adult pool, they have some adult areas. And maybe it's just because it's set apart and it's newer. Maybe that's it. The rooms are newer. Um, the biggest thing that I really enjoyed about that was when we were there in February was just sitting in the adult pool and watching the whales out in
Yeah.
the water. That's probably the coolest part about that property. And then also the golf course right there.
Yeah. 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 And then the last property is Hard Rock, Puerto Vallarta.
Mhm.
And it is also a smaller property, um, not too far from the airport. And you can still get down to the Malecon area pretty easily if you want that kind of nightlife and experience down there in Puerto Vallarta.
Yes. The one thing about that one is the biggest thing I think is the French balcony rooms. A lot of people don't realize, that when they see about, they think of a balcony, but most of them have French balconies. But I do like that property because it is small. I mean, but
Mhm.
yet it's got a great walkable beach.
Yeah.
And yet you're close to everything. But that property, in my opinion, I like that one because it's small. But I'm a small property person.
Mhm.
But they fill up quickly. I mean, I know I've looked at a couple weddings there for 2026 and couldn't get any space or even FIT space.
Yeah. And if you're thinking about the Hard Rock brand for your destination wedding, if you get with Carol and myself, we're going to help you figure out which property is going to be the best fit for your group
Hmm.
because they all are different in their own way and all take on its own unique vibe as well too.
Yes, they do.
So, but let's dive into more to the wedding programs at Hard Rock because they are the same throughout the resorts.
Yes. So the first one basically is, we always get the question, so how much is it going to cost me to have my
Exactly.
wedding at the Hard Rock? So do have a nifty little calendar, and we can tell you if they even have space for number one. We can also send you a link or figure out for you based on they have a calculator available to us that kind of gives you an estimate of what it would cost based on the number of people that you have.
And that's just a guide. And that guide really does come in handy because people don't realize how much all the extras cost and how that adds up really quickly.
Yes. I mean, they give you it's pretty simple. I mean, it gives you the basics. It's not going to be everything because of course everybody has their own unique design of how they want to have their wedding, but it's a good start. It also lets you know that if you have X many people, you can have different packages. I mean, it kind of gives you the start. So that's the first start is we kind of look at that and we can give you an idea. The next is, knowing the next question we always get is, so where am I going to be able to have my wedding at with Hard Rock?
Yeah, and Hard Rock, they do not allow you to lock in your locations at time of booking like other resorts do unless you want to pay a fee. And that fee is usually $50 per person. So when we're filling out the form to reserve your date, we have to give them a guesstimate of how many guests you're expecting, okay? Because they need to make sure the locations that will be available will be able to fit your size group and everything. So if you're locked into, say, you're at, Hard Rock Punta Cana and you want to be on Trumpet Beach or the Trumpet Gazebo, like you need to make sure that's going to be available for you. You're going to have to lock it in with $50 per person at time of booking. And that money does go towards your wedding package, I believe. Okay.
Yes. Mhm.
So, that's something to consider when you are thinking about, any of the Hard Rocks. If not, they assign your locations 3 months prior. Okay. And then you're kind of locked in. So it could be a gamble if you kind of had your heart set on something. It may not be available.
Yeah, yeah. And then also one thing to keep in mind too is when you're dealing with Hard Rock, as well as most of the wedding locations, they do not really meet with you until 6 months prior to the wedding. They do offer an option that if you want to start wedding planning immediately, there's a $1,000 upfront fee, and they'll start working with you immediately. Now that is non-refundable, so that is not something that goes towards your package.
Correct, and that is important. That $1,000 will not go towards your wedding. That is just getting you assigned to your wedding planner so you can start planning. And I have many couples that do because, you know, they don't like to feel rushed and having to wait to 6 months and everything. So, especially if you have a large group, a lot of couples definitely feel that $1,000 to get started is worth the investment.
Yes. But those are options that a lot of times people don't know about if they don't use a certified planner. They thinking that, hey, I can start right away, and it doesn't always mean that. The other options, that there's different options for wedding packages there. I'm not sure if many people realize, but they do offer a complimentary wedding package with a very basic setup, if you have 32 or under guests. That's a good starting point for anyone if they're really not sure where they want to go with their wedding package.
Yeah, and then you can do all the extras that you want a la carte. Okay. But if you like one of the collections and you want to do one of the collections, Carol and I do have a promo that will save you money off your wedding based on the number of rooms and the month that you're getting married,
Mhm.
which
Yeah.
is a huge savings.
I mean, I know that sometimes, I know you and I both get some that are like, well, we don't really care what our wedding's going to be like, and, honestly, there's different variances there. So if you do, say you've got 40 people coming and you're looking for just really simple, you could do the complimentary selection and then use your other funds to do experiences, have
Mhm.
fireworks, have a longer dance, upgrade your DJ. There's other things that you could do if you really are like, I just want the free wedding, but I'm all about the party and the experience. I want my guests to see something they don't see somewhere else. This could be
Exactly.
an option, a really great option for you.
Yeah. Yeah. So lots of different options are available for you with Hard Rock. And Hard Rock also is very, very popular with South Asian weddings. And Carol and I also do a lot of South Asian weddings. And Hard Rock has some great locations to accommodate. Sorry, I gotta sneeze. Sorry.
Yeah.
Can't help it. Couldn't hold it in. Um, to accommodate some of these larger groups that usually come along with the South Asian weddings, because with the South Asian wedding, you're doing multiple events over several days. So with it being larger resorts, they're able to accommodate all those events for us.
And plus, you don't have to worry about having your event in the same location for each event. That's always an issue at a smaller resort because there's only so many places that they can hold you. So going to a larger resort gives you that option. Plus, they also have, which is very popular with South Asian weddings, is they like to have their final evening reception inside so that they can go to the late hours of the morning. So you're going to have that option a lot at a larger resort more than you are a
Mhm.
small resort to accommodate your whole family. And they also have on property Indian restaurants and Indian chefs. So this is a big plus.
Yeah, it does. It does. And then, with Hard Rock, they also have like other promos that are available for you where you're going to earn event hours based on the number of rooms you have. So you'll be able to offset some of your wedding costs through some of those perks and promos that you'll receive as well as part of their wedding program.
Yes, the other thing that's been great is that Hard Rock has also brought back their resort credits.
Mhm.
And that's based off the number of nights that you stay. But based on a 3 night stay, the majority of it is a $200 per night resort credit that you can use towards excursions, spa. And there is a service fee, and I can't remember the service fee. I think it was like 25% or 35% or something like that, which is based off of your total cost that's you're charged. But still, to have that amount of money just to use as you want on resort is to me is a fabulous way to get guests to get something extra from the wedding.
Yeah, yeah. And one of the things I also like about Hard Rocks, if you're a music lover, you'll be able to rent out one of the electric guitars and bring it back to your room and just jam, or some of them have like jam studios on property and everything. So a lot of cool things to do at Hard Rock resorts.
My husband actually did that at Hard Rock Cabo. He brought it up, played up in the room for a little bit, and then he went down to the music studio and they recorded a bunch of things together. He thought it was a blast. So I mean, if you're a music lover, it's a great way to go. And he said there was a couple young kids in there and they were playing the drums and he was playing the guitar. He says kind of a good way to bring in multi-generational people together as well.
Yeah. So I just wanted to hold one of the guitars. So when I was at Hard Rock Musicana last year, I just went over and I said, is there just a guitar available for me to just like stand right here and hold it, take a couple of pictures? So he went and got one for me, and I couldn't believe how heavy they were.
They are heavy. They are heavy. The electric ones are very heavy, but yeah, they do tend to, you wonder why sometimes musicians sit down. You know why? Because after a
I
while,
was just like, okay, this is heavy. How are they like playing with this? But it's cool, like some really cool features that you can,
yeah.
take advantage of, like that you wouldn't experience at other resorts. So they definitely have a great wedding program.
Yes, they also have great kids programs. They have, like I said, a lot of them have a water park, or the majority of them have some type of water park at them. The other, there's things for every age group. They used to have a commercial years ago, and it still comes in my mind whenever I think of Hard Rock. It was from the little child having fun all the way to the grandma in the wheelchair that she dove into the pool at the end. It was probably about 5, 6 years ago, but it's true. There, it brings out the rocker in
Yeah.
everybody. It really does. So it's a fun, upbeat. Restaurants are available besides buffets, great restaurants available throughout different,
Mhm.
different types of food. There's always entertainment at night, live music down to karaoke to everything, everything you'd want is available.
Yeah. Yeah. Good solid choice for weddings.
Yes, yes. And like I said, just, make sure that you get a hold of us, and we can help you choose which one would work for you, help you manage your way through the wedding product as well so that you can decide which one's right for you and your wedding group.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, well, I think we've covered it pretty much. Did we forget anything? I don't think we did. I don't.
No, I think we kind of covered it all. And
Yeah.
there's a couple of other resort brands that fall under the Hard Rock umbrella, but we're going to dive into those individually because there's a lot to talk about on those the resorts as well. And their wedding programs will work very similar to what we kind of just discussed as well too.
Right. Well, I think that'll be it for this week. And next week, we're going to talk about Casa de Campo. That's one of our favorite resorts. And we're going to kind of go over that program and let you know what that's all about. Until then, we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.
Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more wedding inspiration and tips. Visit us at destinationweddingtalk.com, resources and updates. And as always, send us your questions to Mindy and Carol. We love hearing from you. Join us again next week for the latest episode of Wedding Talk with Mindy and Carol. Until then, happy planning.